Parker Schnabel had always been a miner who saw potential where others saw waste. Deep within a thick, untamed forest, beneath layers of soil, rust, and overgrowth, he stumbled upon an abandoned trommel, left untouched for decades. At first glance, it appeared to be nothing more than a corroded heap of metal, swallowed by nature. Most people would have walked past without a second thought, but Parker had a different perspective. He understood that even machines long forgotten could hide incredible value. As he approached, the way sunlight reflected off the worn steel and the way the soil clung to its frame hinted at something more. The trommel was massive. Its once powerful drum had been the heart of a gold processing operation, now weathered, rusted, and fragile. Back in its prime, it had processed tons of dirt daily, separating gold from rock with brute force rather than precision. Over the years, countless specks of gold had slipped through its gaps, lost and waiting. Parker knew he had uncovered something remarkable. Carefully, he and his team cleared decades of grime and debris. Gold started to appear, not just tiny flakes, but enough to excite even the most seasoned miner. Yet the trommel was broken. Rust had seized its parts, its structure weakened. Moving it risked losing the treasure trapped inside. Parker faced a daunting challenge: revive this sleeping giant without damaging the gold within. The first hurdle was transporting the trommel out of the dense forest. Cranes, trucks, and a team of experts were brought in to safely extract the fragile machine. Once relocated, the real work began. Bolts were replaced, gears repaired, clogged screens cleaned, and a new motor installed. Modern sensors enhanced efficiency, turning the old machine into a hybrid of historic engineering and contemporary technology. Meanwhile, the surrounding area revealed untapped riches. Layers of forgotten pay dirt tested far richer than anticipated. The combination of a restored trommel and untouched soil promised a massive yield. Day by day, Parker's team fed the machine, watching gold flow in unprecedented quantities. What started as a risky endeavor became one of the most significant discoveries in Parker's career. Hidden among old mining documents, Parker found detailed logs mapping abandoned gold-rich zones, places overlooked or intentionally left behind by previous miners. The trommel was more than a machine. It was a key to a larger treasure network. Its revival told the story of the miners who had once worked tirelessly under harsh conditions. Parker treated the restoration as a way to honor their ingenuity. As the trommel roared back to life, it became clear that old machinery, when combined with modern upgrades, could outperform expectations. The project minimized environmental impact by reusing existing equipment, proving that profitable mining could also be responsible. The discovery inspired the team and the wider mining community to reconsider abandoned machinery, recognizing that even relics could hold enormous potential. Patterns emerged in gold recovery, revealing where nuggets were concentrated versus areas producing fine particles. Parker adjusted the workflow accordingly, turning the trommel into a highly efficient recovery system. Every adjustment increased output, and every nugget recovered confirmed the wisdom of combining historical knowledge with modern methods. The project taught lessons beyond gold. Teamwork, perseverance, and creative problem-solving were essential. Each team member, from engineers to miners, played a critical role. Every bolt tightened, every screen cleaned, and every workflow adjustment brought them closer to unlocking the trommel's full potential. Even as operations continued, Parker discovered more hidden gold and artifacts. The Trommel became a symbol of exploration, innovation, and the rewards of patience. The once-forgotten relic proved that history still had secrets waiting to be discovered, and that with vision and determination, even the overlooked could yield extraordinary results. By the end of the project, the Trommel had surpassed all expectations. Millions in gold had been recovered, a piece of mining history preserved, and a blueprint created for future operations. Parker's approach combined respect for history, innovative thinking, and meticulous planning, showing that abandoned tools could still deliver incredible value. The Trommel's success inspired further exploration of old mining sites. Parker applied lessons learned to uncover more hidden treasures, ensuring that gold was extracted efficiently and responsibly. What began as a single discovery became a testament to vision, creativity, and the potential hidden in forgotten places. Ultimately, Parker and his team had achieved something remarkable. They revived a decades-old machine, recovered vast wealth, preserved mining heritage, and demonstrated that with perseverance, innovation, and respect for history, even abandoned objects can transform into extraordinary achievements. Beginning. The Trommel had unlocked a map to more forgotten treasures. The adventure was far from over. Even after the Trommel was running smoothly, Parker knew the story wasn't finished. Every day brought new surprises, as gold hidden for decades slowly revealed itself. The team meticulously documented their progress, recording the output of each cycle, noting the finest flakes and the largest nuggets. This wasn't just mining, it was uncovering a story that time had buried. The surrounding site became a treasure map of sorts. Parker and his crew began to analyze the layers of soil in unprecedented detail. They noticed pockets where the old miners had missed gold, or where natural shifts in the earth had concentrated it over the decades. Each observation informed the next step, allowing the Trommel to work at maximum efficiency. Patterns emerged, and Parker realized that these ancient miners had left behind subtle clues, unintentionally guiding him toward hidden veins of wealth. Restoring the Trommel had revealed more than gold. It opened a window into history. Parker pored over old photographs, company ledgers, and mining reports, piecing together the story of a forgotten mining empire. The Trommel, once abandoned, became a bridge connecting the past and present. Every gear and every rusted bolt told a story of innovation, struggle, and human determination. It was a lesson in how human ingenuity could leave traces of potential long after people had gone. The team also began experimenting with new methods to extract even more value from the site. They adjusted the angles at which dirt was fed into the Trommel, optimized water flow, and incorporated modern separation technology. The combination of old engineering and new thinking created a hybrid system capable of extracting gold that would have been lost to older methods. The results were staggering. What once was considered scrap and waste became pure profit. But the work wasn't without challenges. Rusted parts failed unexpectedly, water pumps clogged, and the remote wilderness added logistical hurdles. Each setback required on-the-spot problem-solving. Parker relied heavily on the skills of his team, mechanics, engineers, and seasoned miners who could improvise solutions and think creatively. Every repair, every adjustment, and every successful run reinforced the power of collaboration. The environmental impact was also a priority. Parker ensured that every step of the process minimized damage to the surrounding land. Streams remained unpolluted, forests remained untouched, and soil erosion was carefully controlled. By restoring a machine instead of creating a new excavation, the team demonstrated that mining could be profitable and responsible. The Trommel had become a model for sustainable extraction, proving that historical equipment could meet modern standards without harming the environment. As weeks turned into months, The scale of the find became undeniable. Millions in gold had been recovered, but the real value extended beyond wealth. Parker had uncovered a blueprint for future operations. Abandoned machines, forgotten sites, and overlooked deposits now represented untapped potential. He realized that history had been quietly preserving treasure, waiting for someone with vision, patience, and determination to bring it to light. Every day, the Trommel worked tirelessly, separating gold with precision and care. The team grew more confident, adapting their workflow, anticipating challenges, and fine-tuning every detail. Each cycle of dirt processed brought not just gold, but insight. The pattern of nuggets, the concentration of fine particles, and the distribution across the drum offered clues about both the old miners' methods and the natural behavior of the gold in the earth. Parker's approach had turned the Trommel into more than a machine. It had become a guide, teaching lessons from the past while delivering real, tangible rewards in the present. The success of the Trommel began attracting attention. Historians, engineers, and fellow miners studied Parker's methods. They marveled at how a decades-old machine, long considered obsolete, had been transformed into a high-efficiency gold recovery system. Parker's work challenged conventional thinking in the industry. Innovation wasn't always about building new machines. It could also mean seeing potential in what had been forgotten, blending historical insight with modern technology to achieve results that seemed impossible. Even as the gold flowed, Parker continued to explore. Every day brought new discoveries: old shafts, abandoned tools, and areas that had been overlooked by previous generations. The Trommel had been the key, but the surrounding land held its own secrets. Parker's team mapped the area meticulously, planning targeted digs and refining techniques that maximized recovery while minimizing waste. The project became a living testament to the value of patience, observation, and methodical planning. As the operation matured, Parker reflected on the lessons learned. The Trommel had taught him that opportunity often lies where others see only decay. Every rusted bolt, every layer of dirt, and every hidden nugget was a reminder that the past still has value. With determination, creativity, and a willingness to learn, even what seems worthless can be transformed into something extraordinary. The Trommel's revival also became a mentorship platform. Parker trained younger miners in historical techniques, mechanical restoration, and efficient gold processing. They learned to respect the legacy of past miners while applying modern innovations to achieve optimal results. Skills were passed down, knowledge preserved, and a new generation of miners became inspired by the possibilities hidden in history. Finally, the project solidified Parker's philosophy. Wealth isn't just measured in gold, but in vision, perseverance, and the courage to see potential where others see only rust. The Trommel, once abandoned and forgotten, had become a symbol of human ingenuity and the rewards of taking bold action. Parker had turned what most would consider junk into treasure, history, and a blueprint for future success. Even with the operation running at peak efficiency, Parker knew this was just the beginning. Other abandoned sites awaited, other forgotten machines held untapped potential, and the lessons learned from the Trommel would guide every future expedition. The story of this once-forgotten machine reminded everyone that treasures, whether gold, knowledge, or history, often lie in plain sight, waiting for someone daring enough to discover them. As the weeks rolled on, Parker and his team began to notice subtle shifts in the landscape around the Trommel. The decades of neglect had left clues: tiny ridges in the soil, unnatural mounds, and shifts in sediment patterns that hinted at areas of untapped potential. Parker studied them closely, seeing patterns where others would see nothing. These natural markers, combined with his understanding of how the Trommel worked, allowed the team to target areas that promised the richest rewards. The workflow became almost scientific. Every scoop of dirt, every turn of the drum, and every adjustment to water flow was recorded. Parker mapped the results meticulously, comparing gold yields across the site. The trommel's rhythm became predictable, yet full of surprises. Sometimes small flecks would pour out steadily. Other times, great nuggets burst forth, passing through the soil behind the daj of the terrace. Hidden and overlooked sediment piles would explode into clusters of nuggets, as if the land itself had been waiting decades for the right person to awaken its secrets. This discovery also began to change the culture of the camp. The team's confidence and excitement grew daily. The once quiet, methodical operation became electric with anticipation. Each new layer processed brought a mix of anxiety and exhilaration. What gold lay hidden today? Every recovered nugget was a victory. Every minor tweak in technique, a lesson in patience and ingenuity. Parker's approach extended beyond just gold. He began cataloging historical artifacts found in the dirt, tools, fragments of machinery, and even old miners' personal items. Each piece told a story, a glimpse into the lives of those who had labored here decades before. The trommel, once merely a machine, had become a time capsule. By reviving it, Parker was resurrecting not just wealth, but history itself. Meanwhile, logistical challenges persisted. Remote locations meant that every repair, every supply run, and every adjustment required careful coordination. The team devised clever solutions, improvising when necessary, and creating custom tools to handle delicate repairs. Nothing could be left to chance. One misstep could damage the trommel irreparably or lose precious gold hidden inside. Parker's leadership shone in these moments, balancing risk with careful strategy and inspiring his team to tackle each problem with confidence and creativity. As the gold continued to pour in, Parker began to think bigger. The trommel had unlocked one vein of opportunity, but the surrounding territory was a web of forgotten sites and abandoned equipment. By cross-referencing old mining maps with the discoveries they were making, Parker began identifying other machines that might still hold untapped riches. Each piece of historical information became actionable intelligence, guiding new expeditions and mining strategies. The trommel's success also began attracting attention from outside the camp. Fellow miners, historians, and engineers were curious about Parker's methods. They marveled at how a machine considered obsolete could outperform modern equipment when paired with careful planning and skill. Parker shared insights sparingly, knowing the value lay in the combination of historical research, mechanical knowledge, and hands-on expertise. It wasn't just a story about gold. It was a blueprint for innovation, patience, perseverance. Even more striking was the environmental impact, or lack thereof. Parker had avoided unnecessary excavation and disruption of untouched land. Streams remained clear, forests remained intact, and erosion was minimized. By reviving an existing machine rather than building new equipment, the team demonstrated that mining could be both profitable and responsible. The trommel had become a model of sustainable innovation, proving that careful planning and respect for nature could coexist with ambitious projects. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. The trommel processed layer after layer of dirt, each cycle yielding gold and historical insight. The team's understanding of the site deepened with every bucket of material. Parker's meticulous notes and observations became a guide for future operations, showing how the careful study of past techniques could inform modern success. Every tweak, every adjustment, every small victory added to the growing legend of the trommel. As the project matured, Parker began mentoring younger miners and apprentices. He taught them not only how to operate the trommel efficiently, but also how to read the land, understand historical mining patterns, and think critically about opportunity. Knowledge was passed down alongside gold, ensuring that the lessons of this project would endure far beyond the current operation. The trommel had become more than a tool. It was a teacher, a symbol of ingenuity, and a bridge connecting generations. Yet the story didn't end with the trommel. Parker's success had revealed a larger truth. History was full of overlooked opportunities. Abandoned machines, forgotten deposits, and neglected sites were treasures waiting to be rediscovered. The Trommel was just the beginning, a demonstration of what vision, determination, and skill could achieve when paired with respect for the past. In the months that followed, Parker continued to expand operations. He explored additional sites hinted at by old mining logs, uncovering deposits even richer than the original site. Each new discovery reinforced the lesson that the past was a guide, not an obstacle. By understanding history, combining it with modern techniques, and approaching every challenge with creativity, Parker had unlocked a formula for success that could redefine the future of mining. Ultimately, the abandoned trommel became a symbol, a testament to the rewards of perseverance, ingenuity, and respect for history. It proved that even forgotten objects and overlooked opportunities could produce extraordinary results. Parker and his team had recovered immense wealth, preserved a piece of mining heritage, and inspired a new way of thinking about old equipment and historical sites. The Trommel's revival was proof that vision and determination could turn decay into discovery, history into profit, and rust into riches. And even as the final cycles of gold were processed, Parker knew the adventure was far from over. The wilderness still held secrets, abandoned machines still waited, and the land itself whispered of untold possibilities. The Trommel had opened the door, and Parker was ready to step through, ever searching, ever learning, and always driven by the thrill of uncovering what others had overlooked. As the sun rose each morning, casting golden light over the camp, Parker and his team pushed the Trommel to new limits. They experimented with feed angles, water pressure, and drum speed, discovering subtle tweaks that produced disproportionately large yields. Patterns began to emerge, almost like a hidden code written into the earth over decades. Parker meticulously logged every adjustment, noting which changes yielded the largest nuggets and which produced fine gold dust that might have been lost in previous operations. Beyond the mechanics of the machine, Parker's team became more attuned to the land itself. Small indicators, a cluster of pebbles here, a discolored patch of soil there, signaled hidden pay streaks. Parker taught his team to read these signs like a map, combining intuition with data collected from the Trommel's output. Every scoop of dirt was now an experiment, every cycle a chance to decode the secrets of the land. Curiosity didn't stop at gold. Buried beneath layers of sediment, the team began uncovering artifacts from the original miners, rusted picks, old boots, and fragments of mining journals. Each item told a story of human effort, ambition, and perseverance. Parker encouraged the team to preserve these relics, carefully cataloging and photographing them. The site transformed into a living museum where history and gold intertwined. Word of the Trommel's revival began to spread. Local miners and historians visited the site, fascinated by Parker's ability to breathe life into a forgotten machine. Some were skeptical at first. How could rusted metal outperform modern equipment? But by watching the Trommel in action, even the most doubtful observers had to acknowledge the brilliance of Parker's methods. It was a lesson in seeing potential where others saw only decay. Environmental stewardship remained central to the operation. Streams flowed undisturbed, and nearby forests were left intact. Parker's approach demonstrated that mining could be both profitable and responsible, proving that innovation didn't require destruction. The Trommel had become a model for sustainable practices, showing that past and present could coexist harmoniously. As the operation scaled, Parker's team refined their workflow. They introduced temporary holding bins to sort gold by size, implemented sieving stations for fine particles, and monitored water use to maximize efficiency. The once forgotten Trommel now acted as the heart of a sophisticated system, merging historical machinery with modern engineering insights. Parker also emphasized mentorship. Younger miners learned not just techniques, but philosophy, patience, observation, and respect for history. Each nugget recovered was accompanied by a lesson, each repair a demonstration of problem-solving under pressure. The Trommel became a classroom,
a crucible where knowledge and skill were forged alongside gold. Months into the project, the team uncovered evidence that the Trommel was part of an extensive network of old mining operations. Hidden shafts, untouched pay dirt piles, and abandoned machines pointed to a region that had been abandoned prematurely. Parker began planning expeditions to these surrounding areas, confident that the lessons learned at the Trommel would guide them to even richer finds. The Trommel itself became legendary. Videos and photos circulated among mining communities, inspiring others to reevaluate forgotten equipment and neglected sites. Parker had proven that history wasn't just a record of what had been, it was a roadmap to opportunity, a resource for those willing to look deeper and think creatively. Even as the gold piles grew, Parker's mind raced ahead. Each nugget processed was a reminder of what had been hidden in plain sight. Every layer of dirt removed, every artifact uncovered, was a testament to the power of curiosity and diligence. The Trommel had unlocked not just wealth, but a vision of mining as a blend of art, science, and respect for the past. In the end, the abandoned Trommel stood as more than a machine. It was a symbol of perseverance, ingenuity, and the rewards of seeing potential where others saw nothing. Parker and his team had transformed rust into riches, neglect into discovery, and history into living lessons. And while the current operation drew to a close, Parker knew the adventure was far from over. The wilderness still held secrets, the maps of the past still whispered, and somewhere out there, new machines and forgotten treasures awaited those bold enough to seek them. The Trommel had opened the door, and Parker was ready to step through it again, ever exploring, ever learning, and ever chasing the golden whispers left behind by history.